working. Start recording.
I work on a computer all day long.
That's what they industry, that's what I want to do. Because it really, because I haven't had a chance to visit, I drove out there and I noticed that the security, the gate approaches
That's right.
There's ever something I can't get to.
Yeah, some of the terminology. The light. You had the same question.
Another agency, they worked there for a year.
No, I know you did.
Yeah.
Because my left That's what her plan.
Yeah. I did.
Now they're on.
Probably in my phone.
Thank you.
I'm all about the daddy.
Trying to scare the hell out of me.
Oh, really good.
Hey, man. How you like my
Y'all ready?
Yeah, we are.
All thing I told the room was told to me.
Yes.
Next time I need somebody, I'll let you know.
The way,
Yeah.
All right, y'all ready?
I want to meet everybody.
We'll get started. Public Works, Mr. Jeff Dorey.
Are we gonna open the meeting? Not for committee. He was by time.
It's your turn.
I'm telling you, okay.
I move that Public Works, forum is present. First thing we'll do is we'll hear from Albert John, our Public Works Director.
Good afternoon. I don't have anything new to report to you guys. There's nothing in the shop right now. We don't have anything scheduled to come in the shop for repairs. Any questions?
Very good, Albert. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, the next report is from our Street Commissioner, Gilbert Onatine.
Good evening. To the newcomers, every month I'm gonna sign up for local records, and I don't mean nothing by it. For the month of January, we built 2 catch basins and 2 fall pots. For those who don't know what a fall pot is, it's a catch basin that with no inlet. It's just a fall pot to join 2 pipes together and be covered up. So that way the pipe is not disposed all over. Okay, on that note, we put up some new street signs again. We built we cleaned our catch basin and drain after that little tornado passed through and a lot of debris. I got a few complaints about trash in the ditches that the water just blew over the left side of the ditch. Got some of that cleaned out. We gotta break and cut all the grass, parks, neutral ground, the John and John Bridge, I-10 Bridge, both exits, and trim a few trees because after the tornado passed, had a lot of broken limbs, trimmed that off, and that's about it. Any questions?
Question, Chair. Gilbert, the ditch cleaning, are we still in operation?
Yes,
Doing that?
yes. We cleaned some ditches the other day, but the truck is broke, the chimney truck is broke. Can't pump the water comes straight out after you start doing it, so. You can wash it a little bit, but you can't suck out the water.
Okay, I have, 2 locations that need some ditch cleaning.
Okay.
Southeast corner of East 12th Street and Avenue K, along East 12th, going east from that intersection.
Was that work about put in by you?
Yes. Did you get it today?
No, I didn't get it today yet.
All right, since it's there. And then East 11th Street, from Avenue H to North Avenue I, along the north side of the street.
Okay.
Ditch, it's like silted up.
Right.
For years.
Yeah, from the leaves.
And then some of the culverts there probably plugged up too.
Yes, sir.
And there's pipes there.
Yeah, that's a note that we're gonna be taking care of as soon as we get the truck ready from Kim. And I kinda heard it through the grapevine that we might be borrowing portable dishwasher to clean the ditch.
Okay, great.
So-
Oh, for the culverts?
Right.
Okay.
So, see what happens with that.
Thank you, Gilbert.
You're welcome.
I have a request on Standard Mill and Green Street. The culverts are closed, or appear to be closed, but there's a ditch that seems to be plugged up. And so I'd like you to take a look at that. It does not drain and it backs up to the west side of Green Street into the landowner's property.
So that is on Green and Mill.
It is on Green and Mill, on the east side of Green Street. If we could take a look at that, it's a parish road, but it's a city
No,
ditch.
Yes.
So I did go look at that this morning. Gilbert went out there also. At the intersection of Green and Sternett Mill, there's an opening in the ditch there. Is that what you're talking about, where that cement slab is on top of those culverts? Okay, we'll work on getting that cement slab pulled out of there. And that should help that problem, but the rest of the ditch seems to be open and draining. There was no water in the ditches this morning, so it does drain, but I'm sure during a heavy rain, that particular corner does slow it down.
I'll be checking it tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll get that cement slab pulled out there.
Okay, great, thank you.
You will.
Chair, I have one more question. I just remembered on Stantonville Road from Northeastern Avenue, where it goes across the railroad tracks, on Stantonville Road going east on the north side, the ditch. I know that was requested to have that cleaned several months ago, maybe a year ago.
Okay.
But you know what I'm talking about?
Right.
Stantonville Road, on the
Right.
north side of the street, going back,
Right.
going towards the east.
Right.
If we could address that as well,
Not a problem.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
And one more question, the Johnny Judd Bridge, by the Citgo station floods.
There is drainage there, but
I don't know where it goes.
that's a mystery. Even on the other side, but close to the railroad track, also do the same thing. And we had a DOTD come out there and they was puzzled. So, but after 30 minutes, the water's gone. I mean, it goes down, except for on the north side under the bridge. I'm not sure where the drains are for them,
Okay,
but I'll take a look at it again.
okay, that'd be great.
Yes, ma'am.
And Gilbert, just regarding that location, Mike Havich with our drainage board went out there and found a bunch of leaves and debris that were blocking the catch basin drain. He had indicated that he removed that and the water subsided somewhat.
Okay.
So you might want to check on the leaves and debris blocking the passage
Was that on the east side of the bridge?
on the west side,
West
next to the convenience.
Okay.
Mayor,
Yeah, so, that is and I wanted to mention that while Gilbert's up here and we're talking about drainage and ditches and, all those things. I'll tell you that I rode around the last rainstorm, that evening and, the time before that also. Many of our slow drainage issues around the city, not all of them, but many of our slow drainage issues around the city are a result of leaves and our trash. And I was talking with a lady today at City Hall and I explained to her that we need to do a better job maybe at educating our citizens that the ditches and the catch basins with the grates on top are there for us as citizens to have drainage. However, it's impossible for the city of Crowley to hire enough employees to go around and clean leaves off of catch basins and out of ditches and trash out of every ditch. We need, as citizens, to be more responsible for the ditches and the catch basins in our yards, in front of our homes, along the side of the roads, to keep those areas clean. I got a call from someone in Shady Oaks. Now, it's no secret, the streets and homes in Shady Oaks are basically in a bowl. But I went out there, and just about every catch basin is completely covered with leaves, some with leaves and trash. The people who live in these houses are going to have to step up and keep these leaves and the trash out of the drainage. We have to be responsible for our own property. I think our people are confused that the ditches belong to the city and we need to cut the grass, pick up the trash, and rake the leaves out of every ditch in the city, and that is not the case. The ditches belong to the property, but the city has right of way to provide those services to us, utilities. And so it's important that our citizens understand that a lot of the drainage issues are because we as citizens are not out there cleaning up our ditches and our catch basins. Now, I don't expect people to go into the culverts and clean out culverts because that's a different situation. But we need to start looking at the leaves and things of that sort. Look, we've been a tree city for many, many years. That comes with a lot of leaves. And so we need to try and educate our citizens that that's a situation that we all need to pitch in. That's a lot of the drainage issues, like Mr. Havich did, move the leaves out the way, and man, you got a whirlwind going, the water's flowing. But it won't go anywhere if those are stopped up. And that's a lot of things. I've been out on the streets a lot the past couple of weeks with Gilbert and the crew on the street. And that's a lot of what we've been doing, or they have been doing. I'll find it, I'll call them, and they'll come and clean it out and uncover some. There was a catch basin yesterday they uncovered that was completely covered with dirt and mud, and it had been like that for quite some time. But as soon as they uncovered it, the water, it just started flowing. So that the drainage is open and flowing if the water can get to it. But they've been out there doing a lot of that stuff. So I want to thank them for that.
Thank you. Any more questions? Okay, but before I move on, I'd like to ask that everyone here knows, but sometimes we just let it fall through the cracks. We need to put in work orders, because the first thing that we talked about, the Gilbert just a while ago talked about that already. Gilbert can't be expected to remember everything, and a work order is a good little paper trail where he comes back and he remembers. So let's do the work orders, and I think it'll move a lot better. Jeff?
One more thing, especially on those work orders, we are getting some phone calls that saying that I put a work order in a year ago, or I put a work order in 2 years ago, and while I will apologize and try and help move that process forward, understand that it's a different day today, and we're going to put a work order in, and we're going to work on those, I promise you. It's going to take a little time to catch up with what was already there. If it was there a year ago and you haven't heard anything about it, and you're still having the problem, I'd suggest putting in a work order today or tomorrow, and so that we'll have that paper trail like Jeff said, and we can get to it.
And it's good because it'll show that there was the first notice, and then if you do it again, it'll be a second notice. So it's kind of like it needs to get done. So, anything else? Thank you, Gilbert.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, we'll move on, and the next thing on the agenda is we had to hear from Mr. Tim Mayer, our city engineer.
Thanks, Jeff, I appreciate it. I'm gonna cover the agenda items under action items 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll do that by referring to the engineer's report that you all should have in your packets. First item is on page 4 of our report. It's contract A of the Glen Leger construction project for the street improvements. I want to mention to you that I emailed each of you this morning the partial payment estimate, from which I took this information that I'm about to give you. Partial payment estimate number 14 shows that as of January 25th, the contract was 84% complete by time, 73% complete by cost. The estimated total value of work done through January 25th is $4,964,895.10. The amount of $248,244.76 is being withheld for labor and material liens, retainage, and the total amount due is $593,613.42. And I would ask that you consider approving partial payment estimate number 14 to Glen Leger Construction for contract A in the amount of $593,613.42.
Awesome.
Second.
Been offered and second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. Similarly, top of page 5, contract B, this is an action item. And again, you were emailed the partial payment estimate document itself earlier today. Partial payment estimate number 9 shows that as of January 25th, the contract was 75% complete by time, 64% complete by cost. Partial payment number 9 estimates the total value of work through that date at $6,415,509.04. The amount of $320,775.45 is withheld for labor material liens, and the total amount due this estimate is $224,061.67. I would ask you to consider approving partial payment estimate number 9 to Glenn Leger Construction for contract B in the amount of $224,061.67.
Offer the same.
We have a motion, support,
Second.
second by Sandy.
Jeff, real quick, just so that the council will know, Tim is talking about emailing those partial payment documents, and there's some more documents that he emailed to you all. I asked him to do that ahead of time, ahead of the meeting, so that you'll have it. I want you to know that if you don't have the availability to print something out that you want to print, and you want to print something out, come by City Hall and we'll be happy to print it out for you so that you'll have it. But I want to try this to hopefully get you all information ahead of time so that you don't have a stack of paperwork sitting at your microphone when you get here at 4 o'clock and have to make a decision on it, and it's the first time you see it. So if this works, we'll keep going with it. If we need to change it in some way or another, I'll be happy to change it. But that's why he's talking about those emails that you should have received. Also, real quick, I noticed the email addresses that he sent them to is some of your personal email addresses, and he did not have your city email addresses. So going forward, he'll start sending that stuff to your city email addresses, so you'll get those each month there. And throughout the month, if there's some things that come up that you want or need, and you may get some stuff that you didn't know about that I may send to you, but so just be watching out those emails. Thank you.
Greatly appreciate it, Mayor.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, Jeff. The next item is on page 5 as well. It's item I in the left margin. Contracts for fiscal year 2022-2023 material purchases. I did not choose to email this to you. I'm going to hand it out because it's much easier to present this particular item in hard copy. Every 6 months, we take bids on the staple material items that the city uses most often: aggregates, coal mix, concrete pipe, red PVC pipe, concrete, global fill, hot mix, etc. And we took bids on January 25th. Last week. And the way I've done this in the past is issue the bid tab, which is the legal size up front document, what we do is we show in yellow highlighting the bids that we are recommending you award to that contractor at the top of that column. Also, on the letter size documents that are attached to the back, every time we take bids, I show a chart to compare today's bids or this 6-month bid to previous years, so you can see what's happened to the various item costs over time. So if you'll turn to the first of the letter size documents, you'll see proposal number 1. If you award the contracts per our recommendations, you'll see that you'll be approving a cost of $48 per cubic yard for surface course aggregate, that being 610 limestone. I want to mention that, well, I'll do that when I get to the item of Portland cement concrete. You'll notice on that page, proposal 1, above 7 and 8 on the bottom axis, there's a dash line. And what that's intended to show is that the low bid, $39.75, this was 6 months ago. This is going to come up a minute in the concrete item. The low bid was $39.75, but that contractor had a fuel surcharge condition that his bid was based on. And so if that begins to add to that unit price, $39.75, then we'll continue to buy from that supplier until his price gets to $46.30, and then the next low bid kicks in. So we'll go to that material supplier and no longer buy from the one that had the fuel charge. I want to explain that because it happened 6 months ago, and then I'm going to show you where it's relevant to the bids we took this time. So if you turn to proposal number 2, I'll go quickly on these now. You'll see again in red and yellow highlight, you see the current price compared to prices 6 months ago. Proposal 2 is asphalt cold mix. Proposal 3 is, it's an item that we take bids on. It's easy to take a bid on it, but I don't expect with our street improvements project that we're going to have a whole lot of crack cleaning and sealing for a while. It's not that we won't have any, but there won't be much of that. And that's a good thing because the price jumped up quite a bit from 6 months ago. Proposal number 4, that's concrete pipe and arch pipe. What I've done there is only show the 15-inch items and the 18-inch items. You'll see back on the legal size document, we take bids on 15s, 18s, 24s, 30s, 36s, all the way up to very large pipe on a per foot basis. It would be complicated to show every one of those items, but you get the idea of what's going on with the 15s and the 18s. The orange line is for the contractor or the material supplier to furnish 18-inch pipe to the city of Crowley. And you can see that that's at $34.80 versus $29.28 6 months ago. And then the 15-inch pipe, the blue line, is $28.35 versus $21.35 6 months ago. And there's similar increases in the other sides. Per foot, yes. Proposal 5 is a different type of pipe, real PVC. And again, we show the 15s and the 18s, not quite as big a jump in the plastic pipe as in the concrete pipe. And then proposal 6 is for Portland cement concrete and for also flowable fill. And there is that situation where the bids we got had the low bidder wanting a fuel surcharge. So as I explained a minute ago on the aggregate, the Portland cement concrete is now at $145 a cubic yard. The second low bid is at $154 per cubic yard. We will work with the low bid at 145 until the surcharge equals and exceeds 154. And the same thing goes for Flowable Fill. 130 will be a good price for that contractor until it gets to 135 with fuel surcharge, and then we'll go to the next bid. So if you turn back to the legal sides, while we're talking about the Portland Cement Concrete, if you go to the last page of the legal size document, you'll see proposal number 6, Portland Cement Concrete and Flowable Fill. You can see the actual bids there, and then in orange, at the top of the column is the company that submitted the bid. So if you choose to award these, you will be awarding the bids as per my presentation on this bid tabulation. And of course, that would not take effect until you look at it next Wednesday, and then these bids, these prices don't take effect till March 1st.
I offer that as approved.
We have a motion,
Second.
we have a second.
Yeah, real quick, speaking of emails and documents, I know the citizens are sitting out there just gazing into the sunshine there. In the event you ever want any of these documents, you have the option to have them emailed to you also. Just give us a call at City Hall, and we'll be happy to email them to you. This is all public record, and there's nothing to hide here. So if ever you want to have them emailed to you personally, call City Hall and talk with Ms. Tessa, and we'll get them emailed to you also.
Step.
Okay, we do this, Tim, we do this once a year, well, twice a year, correct?
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't think it's out of the realm for the general public to have this at our podium. You only do it twice a year. I could understand day-to-day operation, but something that's this important, because I'm pretty sure everybody, if they would look at it, the first thing that comes to their mind, what's the difference between the city and picking up and them delivering? So Tim, if you don't mind, can you just give them a synopsis of the difference between the city picking up as well as compared to them bringing it?
Sure. The city might save money by picking up a load of pipe or limestone, depending on the bid. Some bidders chose not to have a different price for delivery to the city versus the city will go pick it up. But it gives the city the option to pick it up, especially if there's a needed, urgent need to have some material quickly. You can send a truck out, pick it up, and you pay that price.
All right, any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. The last item is on page 6. At the top of the page where you see the letter L in the left margin. This is a new item, contract for fiscal year 22-23, internal television inspection for storm drainage and sanitary sewer systems. For many years, when we had some problem with the sanitary sewer system or the drainage system that we suspected a collapsed pipe or something lodged in the culvert or a sewer pipe, to understand what needed to be done, we would hire a company that provides this internal television and inspection. And it also is a service that, in order to get the camera through the system, there's got to be a cleaning. So no matter what we find, we get the cleaning out of the service. We've been using this type of service more and more, and for the most part, we've been using a company by the name of DPE. They're out of Lafayette, and they were basically the only game in town, and we never competitively bid it. We just went with them because there was a small amount of it. We weren't contracting them for tens of thousands of dollars at a time. It might have mounted up over the course of a year, depending on the need, we would call and get them to come out. We have no way of knowing how many of those would happen in a given year, but we are seeing with the sanitary sewer system and with the city's drainage system, there's more and more need to use this service. So, and we are finding that there may be more competition in that regard. So I asked the mayor if he would agree to let me present to you tonight. You have a resolution that should be in your packet. I also emailed this to you as well. At the same time this morning, I was emailing the other thing. What we want is to get your authorization for us to prepare a specification and get a bid process for this service. And what we'd like to do, we're kind of a month or two out of sync from the material bids. We'll make this good for the same end period that this current material spec is for. And so in August, when we do this again, we'll include this again, so that it's every 6 months.
Is any action to be taken on this or not?
The resolution, I would like you to adopt a resolution which would authorize us to go forward.
Do we have a motion?
Offer.
Step, motion.
Second.
Brad, second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
That's all I have, action items.
Mr. Chair, if I may just, I'm sorry.
Step.
Now, Chairman, we're gonna use these as a per need basis, or are they gonna be on retainer? How is it gonna go?
It'd be on a call basis. We do it the same way we do now, but our price would be more competitive than what happened next.
Thank you.
Everything will work the same, but now we think we'll get a competitive price.
Good enough. Thank you.
With no more action items, I will recess.
Thank you, Jim. Utility Committee, Alderman Martin.
All right, let's see. Utility Committee.
Mike.
About that. We're gonna go ahead and convene. We do have a quorum. And first up, Tim Craner, wastewater superintendent.
Good afternoon. Over the course of the month of January, we had 358 Louisiana one-call locate requests. 123 of those were new tickets filed with the one-call organization. 39 work orders were filed. With the rainfall over the course of 6 days that was documented during the month of January, 10.5 inches southeast Crowley, 9.5 northwest Crowley. Do the average, probably about 3 inches during those days. We had one day where we recorded 2.75, 2 3/4 inch in an hour on the documented at the plant and at the Cedar Street lift station, wet weather basin out there. Anytime we get that amount of rain, the pumps are pumping. It just takes a little time. Hopefully with the sewer rehab project we have going and the point repairs that have started with the company will eliminate most of those. We had to replace a level control board, a PLC radio type communication device at the Big Golf pump station. We believe the electrician told us it's possible a lightning strike that occurred out there. The station is in operation and it's running. We're just waiting on a surge protector, a arrestor that has been ordered. Once it comes in, it'll give us a little more protection in there again. So we could have lost a lot more than just that. But, we had pump stoppages or clogs at the Oddfellows pump station in Stewartville, which is up by the Rice Palace and Dairy Queen up there. We had to replace one of the pumps there. That pump was probably burnt, but I think we've got its life. It's probably 12 years. The tag indicated it's 12 years old, so I think we've got our little 4,000 out of it, so, we replaced it, it's, in operation and running. Other than that, we've got, 2 new guys that we recently hired, getting their feet wet, literally, we'll see what happens. Other than that, I want to thank my guys out there, because it's been a wet rainfall January. Don't look like it's going to let up for February. Other than that, that's all I have. Any questions?
I got one. How does that retaining pond working? What's that, Cedar Street?
Cedar Street, we're using it to the potential that it was designed for, not gonna, as, operators, I'm not gonna say they didn't really fully understand it, but we can utilize that pond and allow other areas of the city to catch up and then activate that, to get it going. But, it's a useful tool if it's used correctly.
It's still gravity, drain?
Yes, once the wet well, station fills up,
Right.
it overflows into the pond, and there is a pipe that, gravity feed from that, basin back into the station.
Right. Well, I remember when you first, dug out, Tim, that was one of our conversations. Would that gravity, drainage hold up, but apparently it is. When did you put that thing?
Then
Yeah, it's been a minute, I know.
Isabella was there
Yeah.
early in her administration.
Right. For those who don't know what we're talking about, as they call it, the big ditch in South Crowley at the end of Cedar Street. That Cedar going, what's the road that leads in?
Cedar and, East Park Drive.
East Park Drive.
Right there.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for Tim?
Thank you.
Thank you, bud. Okay, keeping with Tim Later, city engineer.
Tim again, thanks, Steph. The utility committee agenda has 2 action items, and I'll cover those in my engineer's report. The first being on page 16 of my engineer's report. The item at hand is where you see E in the left column, the UV system replacement project. Turn to page 17. That's where I state the action, which is to adopt a resolution, which is also in your packet, to approve the plans and specifications and authorize the advertising for bids. I emailed to everyone this morning a copy of the specifications and the plans for you to know what you're approving. And what we'd like to do is get those approved and try to take bids in March, award a contract in April, and get on with replacing that UV system, which is sorely out of date. And it's, I guess I could get Tim back up here, but you probably don't want to hear him fuss about it. It's hard to get parts, and it's hard to get that system to function the way it's supposed to consistently.
So you want a resolution?
Yes, if you would please adopt that resolution.
Okay, the resolution,
I'll second.
you want to read it first? Everybody read the resolution? No, okay, it was offered by who?
Sandy.
No, Ms. Marks, second by who? Oh, Jeff, I just wanted to. All in favor?
Can't see with that mask on.
Hey, man, I'll do what you want, it's called safety, I ain't got no problem with it. There you go, but, okay, let's see, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, have the same, right? Motion carried. Okay, Tim?
Thank you. Also have a item on page 17, an item at G, the LCDBG fiscal year 2020-2021 project. The action is noted on the next page, 18. It is a partial payment estimate. And again, that partial payment estimate was emailed to you this morning. It shows that as of January 25th, the contract is 63% complete by time, 18% complete by cost. The total value of work through that date is $317,672.50. The amount of $15,883.63 is withheld for labor and material liens. The total amount due this estimate is $91,492.50. $145.62. And I would ask that you consider approving that partial payment number 7 to NCMC LLC in the amount of $91,145.62.
I'll make that motion.
Offered by Jeff,
Second.
second by Ms. Moore. If we approve, which one is it? Number
Partial
seven?
number 7.
Partial payment number 7 in the amount of $317,000. What would we have?
$91,145.
Okay, I'm sorry, $91,145.62. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All have the same right? Motion carried.
Those are the only action items I have. I'll be glad to answer any questions about any other item in my report.
And just for the record, it's to NCMC LLC. Amen. Okay,
Yes,
that's it?
that's it.
Other action, okay, these are the two that we took care of. Anything else to come forward, utilities? Your resources?
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Recreation, Alderman Chuck Ashby.
Recreation Committee will convene, we have a quorum, we'll call up Mr. Peter, Director.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Youth basketball is in full swing. We have 3 weeks left of that season going on. We have youth baseball and softball registration ongoing. That goes on for the next week and a half. We have a new website, make it a little bit easier for people to find us. We secured the domain name crowleyrec.com. That will bring you directly to our website, and it is a new design website. You can look at field schedules, field rental rates, field availability, program availability, all of the bells and whistles that come in. We're using the same software that Broussard, Youngsville, Ruston, and other like municipalities are using. Also going with the youngsters, we have the older youngsters, we have our adult tennis spring league registration. We also had enough interest in adult women's tennis this year that we're going to offer 2 separate leagues in the spring. We're going to do a morning league and an evening league. So we had enough ladies that were available and wanted to play organized tennis in the mornings, and some that still have work in the mornings and want to play in the evening. So very excited about that. We have high school baseball and softball that'll be kicking off. It's wet, it's raining, everybody knows that. Guess who has turf? Guess who's been really busy? We had 8 or 9 fields rolling late January, earlier this week, Monday actually. We have high school baseball on tap. We saw a team from Ascension Parish visit Crowley yesterday. We had a team from Lafayette Parish yesterday. We have a full set of practice schedules from area teams this week. And as of about 2 hours before the meeting, we have a college baseball game in Crowley. Unfortunately, I was hoping that our first one would be JMU, but it didn't line up that way. The Louisiana State at Eunice Bengals will be playing at Miller Stadium Friday night at 6 p.m. They'll be hosting Nation Park University from Arkansas. So come out and see us, come and show the support. We have a lot, we have a very full schedule this year on tap. So, also we opened up the bids that were turned in for the restroom project yesterday. Josh Huffpower, the architect who is leading this project, has all of those bids. He is currently reviewing them and taking them into consideration before he offers his opinion on a good bid. We plan to have Josh here next week to present that to you guys. Roller skating is still going on. We are going to take a break from roller skating after this week, going into March. We're going into kind of a restructuring deal. It's nothing bad. It's actually a good thing. We've had great response. Mr. Smokey Wheeler has done a really good job with that program to the point that we have older kids involved. And so we're trying to find a way to get everybody in and reach everybody that we can. And I'm also happy to announce that Chief Hebert is gonna be starting a program, and we're working on that. That's gonna be geared more towards the older kids, the middle school and the high school age kids, and a community outreach program that he has. I won't steal his thunder, but it's in its infancy. He's ramrodded this, and he's really putting a lot of time and effort. So we think that for the older kids and the roller skating for the younger kids is really gonna help us out and give more positive activities for the kids of Crowley at the Martin Luther King Center. Really looking forward to working with the police department on that. And other than that, everything is moving forward. It's go time. So, any questions? Yes, thank you, Mayor. Also got an email this morning from Gibson PC. Gibson PC has donated 3 computers that are much newer and up to date. Yeah, these don't have clutches. They're donating that to the computer lab at the Martin Luther King Center, and that'll be available to the public to use as well. More to come when those are up and running. We hope within about the next week or 2, that'll be up and going. So, anything else?
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Next up, Tim Mayer.
Thanks, Chuck. I have no action items. I do have updates on page 24 of our report. Peter has covered those items.
Anybody has any questions for Tim? All right, Recreation Committee, President.
Thank you, Chuck. Zoning and annexation, Alderman Sammy Reggie.
Thank you. We'll start with a report from Mr. Tim Mayer.
Again, no action items, and I'll be here for questions on the updates.
All right, thank you. No discussion items either. Anything to come before zoning and annexation? I will recess.
Thank you, Sammy. Public safety, Alderman Brad Core.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to call to order the Public Safety Committee. Quorum is present. And we come to reports, first by Chief of Police Troy Abraham.
In the month of January, the officers answered 879 calls. Zone 1, which is West Crowley, it was 331 calls. Zone 2, which is East Crowley, it was 323 calls. And in Zone 3, South Crowley, it was 225 calls. They issued 143 total citations with 173 violations. They wrote 107 TED citations, 27 traffic citations, 15 criminal citations. Also, we lost 3 officers this month in January. One left and moved to Tennessee, and the other 2 we run into a problem with state laws and their training. When an officer's hired, they have 1 year to complete that training, and one of the officers had worked at another department prior, so his year expired, so we had to let him go. In the same situation with another one, where he worked here over a year. So by state law, we had to let that officer go too. We're hoping to get him back and send him in the academy in May. It's definitely a few months that we're going to do without him. Currently, right now, we're 9 short, and we did hire 2 of them, and we may have 1 pending. With the 1 pending, does make it we were more than that, but we are facing a tough problem with the shortage. It's really affecting operations. It's really affecting our patrol procedures. It's causing a lot of issues within the department as far as for sick leave, because we're working officers overtime. A lot of the officers that we're working, it's really creating a bad problem, and we really have to address it. We don't really have any qualified candidates to hire as of right now. And with the shortage, we already eaten up all our overtime for the year. The fact that we pay over right now, just in that one particular line. But currently, right now, we're looking at ways to inspire some of our citizens to come and want to be a police officer. So we're doing a lot, we're fixing to start a lot of community outreach programs to where our officers are more involved in our community, hoping that we get a good response and inspire some young citizens to want to be police. Then we also face with the dilemma of the pay. We lost a lot of officers due to pay. We're falling behind many departments in this area. And it's really time to catch up. We have nobody applying. I know they're feeling the same shortness all across the country, but at the same time, we've been feeling the shortness for many years now, and it's really catching up to us. Nobody's even applying with us anymore. Yeah.
You and I spoke, not only during the campaign, but since you became chief. Have you done that survey statewide? I think we just talked about just the area around here, but he hit it on the head. It's the pay. It is what it is, okay? They will get board certified, and I know we still have that contract where if they leave before, what is it, a year, they have to reimburse the city for, I don't know if it's training or whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, the only way to be proactive in this is that we're gonna have to start looking to find ways that we can adjust the budget. And I'm not trying to put any promise on anybody, but we can adjust the budget to go buy a new vehicle for this, that, and the other. Public safety is number one, okay? We need to just bite the bullet, and it is what it is. If we got to cannibalize somebody else's department, because that's basically what they're doing to us. They actually, let's face it, extra $10,000 a year, that they go a long way. So I think it's time that we bite the bullet and be proactive instead of reactive on this. Because we're at a point now where, I don't have to tell you, all this craziness that's going around, the worst case scenario is something happened, whether big or small, and it'd be blamed on the fact that they couldn't report because they didn't have officers eligible to be there. I don't know how you do your probates, but I've spoken to a few chiefs a while back doing some of the town hall meetings, and they would tell me a lot of times you get probation officers where you have to ride with someone, and they're not qualified to go out on their own. So basically, if their training partner, what have you, is not there, that's stifling them from doing the job, correct?
I'm glad you brought that up. If I hire 9 officers tomorrow, 9 new officers, it's gonna be 6 months before they cut loose. So even if we had the officers to hire today, we're talking 6 months. We're gonna be working short for 6 months, even if we had the people here to hire tomorrow. It's gonna, we definitely have some challenging times coming. Our starting pay is $12.66 an hour. Every business that's opening up here in the city is offering way more than what we're paying. In order for us to be competitive, we probably do need to look at possibly a $4 increase. I think that would stabilize our department and also get it headed in the right direction. I think then you'd start seeing qualified candidates come and apply.
If I may just one little comment on that. Someone brought it up. They were working at Walmart and they're making $15 an hour. But yet the person, and this was brought up to me, because one of the officers was there, him and I were talking, and he had left, and the young lady came up, and they were saying, "Is it true we make more than them?" I said, "What you mean?" I said, "Well, they brought us back over here $15 an hour. So basically, we making more than them, and if something happened, they got to be the one to come in and put their life on the line." So, well, you know what, truth is truth. So what we need to do here as a council, and we've been preaching about it since I've been on this council, we gotta be proactive in this, right? Let's quit worrying about the future, money's coming in. Because the bottom line here, one of the things that bring in businesses is safety, okay? If you ask any business to come in to where, and I'm not putting any shade on Youngsville, we know what the starting pay is, though it is what it is. But if they had a chance between Crowley and Youngsville, the first thing they want to know is two things: police protection and housing. Okay? Well, the housing, that's something that's there to be imagined, but police protection is something that has to be put. So what I would ask this council to do in the very near future, have you thought about advertising on the review?
I'm not sure what the review is, but we've done some Facebook ads and stuff like that. I talked to a lot of members in the community, church groups, trying to entice our younger citizens to come in and apply. Now, there are things that we plan on putting into play that, where we get more involved in our community. And we definitely want to inspire some of our citizens to be police. You know, it's much better if we police our own.
But just for the review is the paper, the state paper that the LMA puts out. Everybody here gets to review. Matter of fact, this is a copy of it right here. And we had our illustrious mayor of Sunset on it. But this is the review right here, ladies and gentlemen. Every month we get a copy of the review. And in it, they have applications. We get an email, I think it's once a week. You know, and the first thing, if you got somebody that you need to hire, go statewide with it. But I can tell you right now, with the price that we're paying, ain't nobody will relocate here for that. So just trying to be proactive and get these rates up.
Chuck, Troy, I know you said that y'all are 9 short. How many officers do you currently have, and how many do y'all have patrolling per shift?
We currently right now have 20, I think some total of 24 on the road. We have 35 commissioned police officers. Some have administrative duties in the office. There's a lot of state laws that we're required to meet, a lot of tracking and stuff that we have to do. You know, we may have to, you know, we definitely come to a point where we're going to have to disrupt some of that and possibly put some more on the road to help cover the shortnesses. In fact, some of us and the captains even talking about us having to step in and do some of that, even myself, as far as, you know, maybe working a shift at night to help cover the shortage. It's really bad. It really stressed the guys out. It's been going on for so long now. It's not just, they hadn't just been 8 short, 9 short today. It's been months of this. And it really took a toll on the department. You see it in the guys. They hoping, you know, that changes are made they want to be involved in our community. They want to be able to cover the shortness of shifts. But when you're working 2 and 3 on the road, it's ridiculous. I mean, they just, the calls that they do, when you know, you may see a car parked, let's say by the railroad tracks, and you say, well, man, he's been there for an hour. But prior to that, he had to stop moving for 6 hours and he pulled over there to catch his breath. So, you know, I definitely see some of their sides when the calls slow down, they take a breather, maybe a little longer than normal because they were just not into nothing prior for so long. So I can understand why they, you know, we see them as maybe goofing off, but I definitely do understand their side because I've worked it, I've done it. But we have to make, you know, going from 3 officers to 6, man, that's totally like night and day. You talk about can get some stuff done, we can patrol the streets like it needs to be patrolled. They can be more proactive in the community and not just taking a break, but they could actually be working radar somewhere or enforcing laws that we have in certain areas where we have more crime. We can definitely be proactive when you have a full shift.
So right now, you're averaging 3 officers per shift?
Yes, we try not to let them work 3, we'll try to pay somebody to come in to where they had 4, but, sometimes they come in 2, and some of the officers do want some days off, so they just can't work every single day. And that's what it's coming to, they actually come out and working so much to where they get burned out themselves, and when you see that, you see sick leave increase. So you may have, you see that burden the department too, an increase in sick leave when stuff like this happens. But as long as we keep avoiding the problems and avoiding the concerns that's needed to run this office, you're gonna keep having this.
Thank you. I agree with Skip. I mean, having 3 officers on the road to patrol all of Crowley, we wonder why the crime's high. You can't do that with 3 officers.
Correct. And with the amount of calls, like I said, you're almost at 900 calls for the month, and you're trying to do that with the minimum people possible. It's definitely a burden to our office, and there's things that need to be addressed. And I know it's tough, and it's real hard, especially right now. There's still some things we need to find out, how much is in the budget. There's definitely some things we have to work through, but it's something that we can no longer put off.
Thank you.
Also, I'd point out, we've had, I guess, the patrol division staffed with 5 to 6 officers for 12-hour shift for how many years, Troy? 20 to 30 years?
Yes.
And over that period, we all know that crime has drastically increased over that time period. And as Chucky was saying, right now to have only 2 to 3 officers to cover the whole city on a 12-hour shift, it's a critical issue that needs to be addressed.
None of us would want that job.
Right. When they extended the city limits, there was talk about adding 4 more officers to the road. But now it's becoming a problem where we can't keep the officers we have. In fact, we have a supervisor who's running the shift right now that's been there 3 years. So this is a guy that's in charge of a crew that's only been there 3 years. It takes 3 years as a police officer just to understand what's required of you, much less be in charge of another crew. So, they struggling too, they struggling to keep up. And when you have, we lost lieutenants, very qualified officers, just and they're not making that much more. Had we would have kept up with times, we would have never lost these guys. We can lose a lieutenant at our office and he'll go work down the road and make more than he was making as a lieutenant when he worked in another office. Starting off at the bottom. I mean, it's time for us to step it up.
Is there a potential to get some of those people back if we would increase the pay in the force?
No. And I'll tell you why, because they start off at 40. You take like one we lost. He's been there 12 years. He's now making over $70,000 a year. An officer tends to look at what they get paid that day. So if we got a sergeant, let's say making 44, and the other one start out at 40, he's not going to leave to take a $4,000 cut. That's why it's important, That's why it's important to also have your rank increase. But our rank increase is the bare minimum that the state requires. We give a 5% rank raise, where some departments may give a 15% rate bump in pay. We give 5. And I mean, 5 is not a lot. You're only talking like 40 bucks. So it's not very much.
Chuck, another point you may be aware of is that if you have an officer that's a sergeant or lieutenant at another city, under the civil service law, if they come to Crowley, they have to start at the bottom as a patrol officer. There's not a merit-based position where you come back in Crowley or slot for lieutenant, so that they can get it at that pay level. So to get another officer from another city, it's impossible to ask them to do that. Another problem we see that I've seen with our officers, you have someone that wants to get law enforcement there in Lafayette, and they're not post-certified. They haven't been through the 15-week academy. Lafayette said, well, you're not post-certified. We want someone that's been through the academy. So what do? They come to Crowley. Pays a lot less, but they're willing to bite the bullet for 6 months, a year, go through the academy, and then they go back to Lafayette, hey, I'm full certified, bye-bye, Crowley. So we're fighting that issue as well.
And we tried to put standards where you have to stay 2 years and all that, but the city attorney doesn't let us hold to it. And other departments have tried to, and they couldn't hold them account,
You shouldn't have to hold them that way.
Right.
They should be good enough that
Yes.
they're willing to stay.
And when you look at the stabilization you'll get from the department by just stepping up and being able to compete with other agencies around, it's just so important for us to get this done. I can't stress it enough.
Seth?
Yeah. Look, I just done the numbers. Now, Chief, you say you started off at $12.66 an hour, correct?
Yes.
Now, if they have to do overtime, that's time and a half, is that the rate?
Well, we start off at $12.66 an hour. After you work for several months, it goes up to $500, which with that $500 and the 12 and the starting pay at like 26. Starting pay is actually like 26,
Right.
$12.66, but then we give a $500 jump after 3 months, and that brings you to right at 30,000 for the year, maybe 31 with this 10% raise they give.
And that's the state supplement, so basically the state.
No, it's 31 in general. Your surrounding areas are all around 40, and that's where we need to be. And $4 more an hour would bring us where we needed to be to where we quit fighting with them taking our officers. And once we get them, we're going to be able to keep them, because as they move up to corporal and that, they'll make a little bit more. Even though it's only 5% more, and then they go to sergeant another 5% more, even though it's 10% more than what they were making, they're not going to leave to go make less money. So it kind of holds them there. When you pay equal, it'll hold them there, because as you do get ranked, you're not going to want to go for less money.
Very what I was about to say.
My concept.
The kicker here is very simple. You start off at, I'm just using a time and a half quota, whether it's that accurate or not. If you're at $12.66, that's a time and a half, that brings it up another $6.33. You're looking at $18.99 an hour. I'm just using up those calculations. If you start off at $20 an hour, okay? One of the things that we had talked about, once again, at some of the town hall and roundtable discussions, they call it hazardous pay. You familiar with hazardous pay? Okay. That's our board jump right there, okay? If anybody asks, okay, well, why are they making this, that, and the other? Well, the simple fact is, it's hazardous pay. They put their life on the line. And I don't have anything against nobody doing their job. But fire and police is a different animal, okay? You just used the term, well, nobody here gonna do that job for that. It is what it is. Nobody wants to put their life on the line. But at the end of the day, once again, I go back into the first narrative. Let's be proactive here. I mean, $20 an hour sounds like a lot, but if they eating up their overtime budget, it's gone anyway. I'd rather have 8 officers getting a certain amount, getting $20 an hour, than having 4 of them, and all of a sudden they eat up your other line item. So it's 8 of them regardless, no matter how you look at it. And the best way to do it, be proactive. Let us cannibalize the other departments. Let them say, you know what, I'm going to Crowley. Okay? Instead of, well, like you use the term, I'm in Youngville, wherever it may be. So I'm just thinking if we can knock that out, that's with both fire and police, and believe it or not, we got some guys working in wastewater. That's under that identification tag. Because let's face it, I mean, when you go inside a hole with methane gas, you don't know what the outcome will be. So just something to think about.
Thank you, Steph.
And
Of course, we're gonna have to, run this through revenue finance, and we need, first of all, we need to see where we are in the budget. And Mayor, I know that you're working diligently to find out what our financial situation is now.
Chief, just to make sure that the council understands these numbers with the, you mentioned that police officers start off at $12 and some change an hour, but, and we're talking about Walmart at $15 an hour, but Walmart, $15 an hour employees are part-time employees, so their annual income at $15 an hour is still less than the annual income of the police officer. But, and we'll never, ever pay our police officers enough, never. I've been in those shoes, and you'll never hear me say that they get paid enough. But a starting police officer salary, annual salary is what? On day one?
Day one is $12.66 now.
And after 6 months, is it?
Yeah, I can.
No, but what is the annual pay on day one?
Annual right now is like $31,000 a year is what it's.
On day one?
Well, first year. That's the best way to figure it out. Let's go by year.
Right, because a starting police officer on day one makes $500-600 less than they do after they're there for 6 months, is it?
3 months.
3 months, so at 3 months, they get a $500 raise.
And that brings it to $31,000 a year.
Okay, and then that's the city's pay, that's what the city pays. They also get, after a year and they're post-certified, they get $500-600 a month now, state pay.
Same as your other cities.
Just like, yeah.
Your other cities are paying 40,
All
and then they get
fire,
the supplemental
police,
on top of the
state police and all that, yes.
What we're trying to do is just stay equal to the other department. We're not trying to, I'll do Walmart or I'll do.
Yeah, well,
free.
we can't,
We
unfortunately.
we're
We
trying
need to, but.
We need to be competitive with other police departments. So when all your other departments in this area are paying, $40,000, well, it's time for us to move up. I mean, we're at 31. It's time. What more needs to happen? I'm telling y'all, it is this dire to get this done. This is not something we can put off. Just like I explained, 6 months. If we hire them all today, 6 months.
Unfortunately, they're not lined up to hire today, yeah.
That's right. So what if it does take us 4 or 5 more months, then another 6 months to get them done? And next thing you know, we're talking about, we're trying to do something for next year. The longer we take, the longer it's gonna take to get, the office where it needs to be. And if we keep going through the officers, the rate we're going through them, you're never gonna have nobody. And look, our guys that we have now, the ones that's been there, 8, 10 years, they're so burnt out, we have to show them that we do care about them and we are trying, because look, they're the ones that are out there trying to make it work with 3 and 4 guys, or 2 guys. They're the ones trying to hold it together, trying to keep the other ones together to keep them from quitting. I mean, it's something I wanted to do years ago. I've been screaming years ago. Look, this is one of the reasons why I quit and ran. It was never being addressed. This is not the first time. I remember telling this to Mayor Greg Jones. It's been going on, and it's been time for somebody to get in there and fight for what needs for that department to survive. It's been entirely too long.
Any other questions for Chief Bear?
Mr. Brad, just let everybody here know that this body has the power to make what he's asking happen. Okay? Because the worst case scenario, crime goes up so bad in the city of Crowley where your businesses start leaving. Then you ain't got no tax base. Then where the money's gonna come from?
Well, that's true, and again, on the weekends with the tournaments and the recreation department with 2,000, 2,500 visitors, it's another burden that's been placed on the police department.
But I remember when we made that to get more officers, when we annexed across I-10, I remember that. And it never came to fruition, just words.
Well, we'll definitely keep moving forward on this matter, because it's no action tonight, but we'll certainly work toward seeing what we can do, Chief. Thank you. Next, we'll move on to Fire Chief Marshall Melrose report.
So good afternoon. So in January 2023, we ran 51 calls. Out of those calls, we had 3 structure fires, which one of those fires was at Northgate. The guys did a real good job. The police department did an outstanding job of helping us evacuate the entire building. I was informed today that they have an arrest made and that they have a warrant out for the other one. So, 22 fire alarms, 10 EMS, 2 grass fires, we assisted the PD twice, 3 hazmat calls, 3 vehicle accidents, 6 public assists for a total response time of 2 minutes and 58 seconds on average as of January.
I think you beat your record.
Well, I think the fastest so far was 2 minutes and 36 seconds. But that, we didn't run 51 calls.
Let's see, not as many calls.
Any questions about the report?
Any questions for Fire Chief Harold?
So, the fire department is still short.
Can I just ask?
Talked with Brad, and I talked to Mr. Wildridge. They came, I think it was last Friday, to see what we were going to talk about in the public buildings. And I showed them a stack of applications, and that's just for the last 2 months. And then I was notified by the PD that December 22nd, I think it was, they can no longer do background checks for us. That it is against the state system's use or something for them to do background checks for us. So, before that, we ran a couple of them and we found out they had felonies and 3 DWIs and stuff like that. So, I don't know what we're gonna do now. We're gonna have to go to Baton Rouge for every interview. And I think they said the cost was like $40, you know? I mentioned to y'all in the past, I wasn't gonna bring it up tonight, but since Troy brought his problem up, I'm gonna bring my problem up. About 10 years ago, we met with the council at the time. Steph, I think you're the only one that's still on the council. 10 years ago, we asked to be brought up to $2,500 a month. Today, we still ain't there. Today, we are making a little over $10 an hour, starting out as a firefighter. $27,719.82 a year. That makes it $2,310 a month, before taxes and before retirement. 10 years ago, we asked for 25. Up until September 1, we was making 21. The last council gave us a 10% base pay raise as of September 1. That brought us up to 2310. My guys are living check to check. I showed Brad and Mr. Wildridge, and I'll show all of y'all in the interview what salary range are you expecting? 33, 35. 27, 720 is good. That's before taxes. Oh no, you can stop the interview right here. I can't come. And that's time and time and time again. And then the ones that take it, they got felonies. They got 3 DWIs. You know? Lafayette just hired 12. You know? I went on the state website. They just redid the eligibility list. I went on the state website last Friday when they left, and I got 2 applicants. I interviewed one Monday. He ain't coming. I offered him the job. He ain't coming. And man, you was part of that fight for us. You know, trying to get that $2,500. We did the survey. I got a survey that's up to date as of August. I'm willing to give it to y'all. You know, $2,310 a month. 10% of that goes to retirement, plus taxes, plus Medicare and health. I see the guys' checks. You know, I see the guys' checks. So the city has a problem, you know, and pays one of them. So if anybody got any questions?
I just got this comment.
I just want to make it clear, when I brought up, public safety side of it, I was talking about both fire and I want to make that clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, because at the end of the day, what's good for the gander is good for the goose. It's fire protection, police protection, I look at that on the same level. Okay, it's life saving. So, I mean, listen, I use the term again, let's be proactive, all right? $20 an hour is not a lot to ask of you when you just do, like I said, I'm not sure how the ratio goes with the overtime, but I mean, think about it. If you got one line item budget that said that whether it be $100,000 for a whole year to do overtime, in your first quarter, half of it is gone, you got a problem. Okay? So look, like I say, we the body that can make this happen. So once again, let's be proactive. Thank you.
Yes, we'll certainly look into that as well. Keep the Revenue and Finance Committee and keep the numbers where we are with the city's financials today.
And if anybody needs to study, I'll be more than glad. In fact, I can make sure y'all got it for the next meeting.
And those would be what?
That's Abbeville, the Zachary, the Leesville, the surrounding, but also around the state that's equivalent to our size.
Similar to our size city.
10 to 15,000 pop.
Thank you, Chief.
Right.
Next report, City Inspector Tony Duhon, who is not present. All right, action items we have none. Discussion items, removal of school zone signs near the intersection of Southeastern Avenue and Elm Street due to the closure of Redemptorist Elementary School. Several years ago, Redemptorist Elementary School was closed. However, the school zone signs and speed limits along Southeastern remain. And I was endeavoring to look in to see, Mayor, if those could be removed. I don't know if we need to check with DOTD. That is a private school, so I don't think the school board will be involved.
The school board is responsible for the school zone signs, but you're correct, they may not be responsible for those signs for the private school. So we will check with both the school board and the state. We'll check with the school board first, they're easiest to get in touch with, and see which one. The next step that would have to happen once that's done, and find out who takes them away, is we'll have to change the city ordinance so that it's no longer considered a school zone in that area. So we'll definitely check on that.
Thank you. The second item I have is requirement of property owners to display street address numbers on buildings pursuant to section 13.1 of the Code of Ordinances, and request assistance from police, fire, and code enforcement to inform property owners of the ordinance. Many times with our first responders, ambulance, fire, police, get calls to an address and run up and down the street, knows number on the building, and it's become pretty much of a problem. And Chief, both chiefs can, I think, can attest to that. And I was just wanting to see if maybe we could do part of a community outreach program to inform property owners to get those numbers placed on their buildings.
Yes, absolutely, and you and I talked about this yesterday also, and I asked you to keep these things on the agenda so we can talk about them publicly so that the people can hear about it also. Because I think, as we talked yesterday, that's something that we definitely need to do. I'm well aware of finding homes, or the correct home in the middle of the night without numbers on them. But I think if we create an educational campaign for our citizens and encourage them to to put their signs, their numbers that are legible, that are reflective, that are bright, and able to be read at night, it's advantageous to them to make that happen so that fire and police and even the ambulance services can find their homes. It is a big problem throughout the city, and it's definitely something that I would be interested in doing, is creating some kind of educational campaign with fire and police that we can put out there publicly, maybe even, I know I used to, and I'm sure some of the police and fire do the same thing, still today, but when I go to homes and on emergency calls, and they didn't have a number, or they were painted over the same color as the house, I would actually mention to the resident and say, look, it would be beneficial if you would fix this issue and explain to them the importance of stuff. And that may be something that we can do also, is come up with a brochure of sorts. When fire and police respond to calls at these homes, they can actually have something to give to the residents also, as an educational tool, in hopes that they would do it. There is an ordinance for it, as you mentioned. I guess at some point we could go out there and start writing citations because you don't have numbers on your homes, but I wouldn't want to go to that extreme with it. I think if we try and educate the public to the importance of it, I think we may be able to make an impact on it. I appreciate you bringing that up. That's very good.
It's nothing worse than knocking on someone's door at 2 o'clock in the morning as a police officer and
It's the wrong house.
wrong house. Very disturbing. Mr. Hughes.
Yes, to expand on what you're talking about. So, I'll agree with addresses, but, so if there's some kind of emergency at this business location, say a fire or break-in or something, does the police or fire department have access to the owners of these buildings to contact them to let them know that something is occurring? Because, I mean, you've had problems too, you ran into the building. Somebody called you, it wasn't the police or the fire, you know what I'm saying?
Right. So Mr. Hughes, and Chief Romero was coming up, the fire department actually does have that record.
So, part of the fire department's requirement to meet the requirement for PIL, so we can keep our class 2 rating, is, we have to do a pre-fire plan on every commercial building, every duplex, and every school, twice a year. Now we only gotta do it once a year. So every commercial building, if it's vacant, if it's like some of the buildings that the roofs are falling in, that's still commercial business. And if the building's removed, but it's still on the city print, on PIL city print, and I can't remove it, the mayor can't remove it, there's only one person that can remove it, and that's the owner of the property. If it's still in the city print, if he pulls that address and I don't have it, we lose points. So we've got 977 pre-fire plans in the city. So we got the owner's name, the contact. We updated everything from paper to computer so that the DC can put it up on his iPhone if he needs to, or on the iPads in the cars. I don't know if the police department got anything like that. If y'all don't, Troy, we can give y'all access to just the pre-fire plans so that y'all have all that information at your fingertips.
And that would be for commercial buildings and schools.
Every commercial building in the city.
And multifamily dwellings.
Like apartments and all that, we got all that.
Chief, explain to them what's on those drawings, besides name, phone number.
So we got a diagram of the building. We got the nearest hydrant, the second nearest hydrant. If it's sprinkled, well, the utilities, the water, the gas, the electric cutoff, most of the city's CLECO, but we do have some SLIMCO that we have to deal with. The dimensions, if there's gates, if there's codes, everything is in that pre-fire plan. So whatever the incident commander, the district chief needs at his fingertips, he has it. And that's a generic, and it's off of NFPA, and don't make me lie with the number.
But as far as the contact with the owner, that's part of your records too?
The owner and the occupant.
Okay, so you have telephone numbers there as well? Yeah. I think Chief Avery, that would be good to have. Because we do have a lot of times response to police calls and, no key holder.
All we gotta do is give you a login, and we can give y'all one login, and y'all can maybe just dispatch.
We used to have one years ago
but when Tiny Tim expired, Tiny terms, that's when, we had lost it.
Well, I'm hoping to go April 1st, live with fireworks. We in the process of switching everything over, and everything's gotta be done manually switched over. So, it's been a task.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, next, update of city's website to include minutes of public meetings since January 2022. Mayor, I appreciate your promptness.
Yes.
I think this has been done.
Yes.
We're all up to date now on the website, so anyone can view the meeting minutes up to current date, as far as last month's concerned. Update number 4, update from Mayor regarding replacement of new street signs throughout the city. This project began in the prior administration, and of course, all the street signs have gotten deteriorated, faded, and I'm just trying to get an update on where we are in the process of that here.
Yes, so speaking with the street department, we do have, I think they mentioned about 80 or 90% of the signs that are prepared, they're ready to put up. It was explained to me that the previous mayor asked for it to start. I don't remember how that process was expected to happen, but I'll tell you, I'm going to talk about number 4 and number 6 right now. Just as fire and police, but not quite nearly as critical, the street department is shorthanded. The problem with that and the problem with number 6 is we are currently, the auditors have been in City Hall for the past month, 3 weeks. And I'll apologize. I promised I'd make mistakes and wasn't perfect, and this is one of them. I didn't catch this. The monthly financial reports should have been discussed in Revenue and Finance and should have been on your agenda, but I didn't catch it. So moving forward, we'll try and do better. We have the street department has asked to hire some more employees, and I'm holding off on that right now because since the September 1 budget was approved, the previous administration gave some salary increases. And as you well know, the budget was not amended. Those salary increases were totally legal, but it took monies from the open positions basically and used that money for the current positions. The salary increases were very well needed by any city employee, obviously. So we're trying to figure out where the money is at in that particular budget to be able to fill those spots. I say that because we've been talking with Public Works about ditches and drainage and trees and trash and grass and everything else. And there's only so much work that can be done by the amount of employees that are employed right now with the street department. So the street signs have kind of taken a back seat for a little bit, and they're going to sporadically go out and put those things from time to time until we can get some more employees in the street. But the signs are made. I think 80 to 90% of the signs are currently made in-house right now. So
good news. Good news. Thank you for that update. And number 5, replacement of sections of sidewalks that were previously removed from Meyer Park, which is located East 7th and 8th Streets at North Avenue, Zion J. As we know, all of our sidewalks throughout the city need repair and replacement. However, in this city park, this is a sidewalk that extends along the perimeter of it, and there's large sections that the concrete just drops off, and it's just an earthen path. And I just wondered if something could be done to get those sections replaced there for the public to use.
I think so. I'm not sure why they were removed.
Well, they were bad,
Maybe.
they were bad
Okay.
sections, you know, from various causes, and tree roots, of course, from the live oak trees.
Right.
On the west side, but on the east side, there were no trees, but again, they were in various stages, so they were a hazard.
Sure. Okay, I'll definitely get that on the list. Yes, sir.
Thank you. And number 7, I think you mentioned financial reports and status, and yield on that, I think that's.
Yeah, we'll discuss that in revenue and finance.
Sure.
Right. I'm sorry, 7.
Just, if you don't mind, I had the pleasure of walking the park the other day. Talking about Doosan Park, between 4th and 3rd and 4th and Avenue C and D. There's a lot of missing and disrupted sidewalk there as well. So while you're doing it over there, please add that parking into your survey.
And that would be across from St.
St.
Rita
Teresa's Park,
Catholic Church, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Thanks, yep. Any other items to come before the committee? The committee recesses.
Thank you, Mr. Cord. Public buildings, Alderman Byron Lewis.
Public buildings convened, we got a form on the action item, there was none. On the discussion item, Chief Lewis Romero would like to discuss the Central Power Station repairs.
Good afternoon again. So what you have is a packet of pictures. So if you look at this page, that gutter drains probably 3/4 of the roof. Okay? That gutter ain't even connected to the spout. Okay? Directly, the window directly to the left of that spout is what you see on this page, on the rec room west wall. The one to the right of that is going to be the first one is going to be the right, the lower south corner. So I'm looking right here. And the next one's going to be right here. That water is draining directly on those bricks. That's why we got moisture coming through the bricks, coming through the plaster. And that's why you got what you see there. That's all on that same wall, right there. Then if you look at the DC office, the paint's blistering because we got moisture coming through. We still have a roof, we still have a leak in the roof. The men's bathroom, so if you look at the men's bathroom, we're gonna look at this picture with a bunch of little windows. You gotta look close. Mr. Habits told us 6-8 months ago that if you look toward the left-hand side, right next to the window, you kind of got that jagged where it's got spaces within the mortar, that's cracks. And then if you look up a little bit, you can see the cracks. The exterior wall southeast, you can see the cracks. If you look in the corner on the right-hand side, you can see bricks missing. Mr. E.O. Harris came out, I'm waiting on quotes that bricks gonna need to be stitched and repaired. And then underneath all the windows, all the,
What you call that metal piece?
All the lintels need to be replaced because they're all rusted and rotten. And then, man, it's hard to remember, man, I'm getting old. 10, 12 years ago, supposedly the building was waterproof.
Yeah, that's what that red paint was supposed to do, was waterproof the building at that time.
It's not waterproof, it's just paint. You can see the bricks, the original brick inside, because they didn't use like a high texture roller or whatever. You can see the bricks. So, Mr. Ed's supposed to be getting me some prices on getting it stitched, getting it anchored, whatever needs to be done, plus waterproof on the building. Because we're never gonna fix the inside until we fix the outside.
Yeah. And Chief, just to make mention that all of these interior pictures were part of the recent renovation to the building that was completed within the last 6 months. So,
Yes, sir.
So after we did all those extensive,
Put it this way, after we got that monsoon last Tuesday, a lot, like if you look at my office, that wasn't that bad. Now it's bad, you know? But again, my office is where it needs stitching, you know? And Brad and Mr. Wilders came. The pictures don't do no justice. Y'all wanna come see, y'all more than welcome to come. I'll give you all the grand tour. It's, put it this way, I don't think we're gonna be in there for a year. You know, it's gonna be crumbling down again. The roof still ain't fixed.
I see you have a picture with the ceiling tile stain, which we also observed.
Yeah, so, Brad, you're correct, and I actually went over there, visited Mo's stomping grounds. The city spent $125,000 on renovating that building to get them in there. It was my opinion before this, and it's my opinion after this, that it was a wasted $125,000 because the project started on the inside and didn't take into consideration why the inside was in the condition it was. I think it was a quick fix. It was a Band-Aid, and we wasted $125,000 on that building.
And Mayor?
Mr. Habits' company did a great job on the renovations. Okay, I don't know how many of you have been in there, but they did a great job on it. It looks really good. I'll tell you, the firefighters are ecstatic about the renovations. They once again have pride and are excited about their job again and their station. But that's quickly fading. So Mr. Habits did mention, like Chief Ferrero said, that the bricks need to be sealed. We have, unfortunately, we have a few brick buildings in our city that need to be sealed. City Hall has the same issue, and water pours into City Hall. Mr. Habits looked at that building also, and that's another process that's going to be that building. But it's unfortunate that all of this work was done at the fire station, and it's back in that condition again.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
The city didn't spend 125, that was a grant.
Correct.
Mr. Mayor, is any of this covered by insurance?
We are self-insured, so I'm sure we could,
You know, Mayor, I'm not quite sure when actually those cracks and the foundation and stuff had problems. Maybe it was storm related, I don't know, that's possible.
but the overall building needs to be sealed with or without those cracks.
And I think there was previous problems, which I was not privy to or dealing with. I said with problems with the windows leaking and everything over the years, and it's had a lot of problems. And I don't know why, all those issues were not addressed, but really, any building, you need to fix the envelope first before you go in there and do your truth. And there's still a problem with the roof. I thought that was fixed. I thought.
After that storm Tuesday,
I don't know,
it was now that was a pretty intense storm, but.
They put that 30, 40-year roof.
Yes, I thought it must have been a good roof. I mean, I'm surprised, but there are some, as far as the other things, those can be addressed.
But Tuesday, I was in Rain at a fire chief's meeting, and the guys called me and said, we got water everywhere. Like in the foyer, Brad and the mayor and Mr. Woodruff saw the stains of water. It's coming from the ceiling, but if you go above that, which would be in the bathroom, the only thing I can see is it's coming behind the wall because there was no water in the bathroom, but they had water in the foyer. And they had a lot of water. 4, 5, 6 of the 8 windows in the rec room had water on the seal. The DC room, 3 of the 4 windows had water in them. The bunk room, 2 of the 3 big windows had water in them, but it wasn't a lot. But everywhere else it was a lot. Like I got videos of them wringing out the curtains with water in the trash can. I can show y'all that tonight if y'all want. It was a lot.
Yes. And I want to compliment you on the quality of work that was done. You did a wonderful job. When we were on the former council, and we recommended that architect and consultants be engaged before you began your work to assist in this project, and apparently that was not done, that was overlooked, and go ahead and get it done, and now this is the situation we're facing. But no negative effect on your work, it's just this is what you're dealing with.
How old is the roof that you currently have?
But there are a lot of penetrations on that building go over the years that have never been addressed. I mean, there's pipes that they keep running through and cut through the brick and water leaking in. I mean, some of your doors and stuff, on the exterior doors all rotten and whatever, so that's probably been there for a long time.
Yes, and I was aware of those things, and hopefully that would be addressed before the finished work inside was done. But,
because, really, I think the city got a very good deal for the amount of money that was spent, really, that,
yes.
whatever it looked like before, yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Martin, you got something to say?
First of all, Ms. Harris, I know if you had anything to do with it, was done right. We got a question, at least I got a question. Can you make what was wrong right?
Sure, we can fix it. Yeah.
Okay, done deal. Apparently, and I remember when we first started this, we depended on other people to give synopsis, and then we went ahead with them. I say it, I'm on this committee, I think, I say that we allowed Mr. Harris to do his own inspections, come up with a source plan to make everything go away, and we take it from there. Because right now, we speculate like he just said it, the envelope, it is what it is. He went to do his job, and, from what I've been hearing, everything was perfect. But at the end of the day, what started out to ruin the original work turned out to ruin the new work.
Yeah. So, Steph, I told Chief Romero to get some quotes on fixing it, what it takes to fix it. We got to get some estimates on that.
I would say I'll make a motion, let Mr. Harris go ahead and do whatever we have to do to make everything right. That way we know it's gonna be done right, instead of depending on listening to tell me about that and relying on any other word.
It's just a discussion item right now.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we can't do that without bids. We have to take bids on it, but I told Chief Romero to get some bids on it, because it has to be fixed.
And I'm working on it. I met with Mr. Yale, They came out, him and Mr. Venable, and I don't remember
My water.
and then, I called a place out Lafayette for them to come. They wanted to come next week, but I'm gonna be in Baton Rouge with, the mayor and some of y'all. So I asked them if they'd come the following week. And then, I also talked to LK Borough. So we're gonna have about 3 bids.
How old is the roof that's currently on it? What kind of damages?
I would say the roof is probably 10, 12 years old, because we was out of the building for almost 6.
Yeah, is that?
And it was probably 4 or 5 years, you know? So probably, I would say 10 to 12 years old.
Excuse me, can I say something?
Yes, sir.
When I got on council back in '07, it was old. It had already, the reason they didn't do much, it had the big antenna on it. They pulled the antenna off, they patched, they did some work. I don't know if you were involved in that.
No.
Someone came in, they patched and did some work on it.
Yeah, but at the same time they replaced the roof in North Crowley, they put some kind of foam on top of the roof to make it taper to drain off, and they put a rubberized roof. And I want to say that was 4 or 5 years before we moved out. So,
Who did the work?
Habits,
the
not this Habits.
the Habits Roofing.
Habits Roofing.
Habits Roofing.
You need to start with them, because if that roof is only 10 years old, that roof still has warranty.
This is the second leak, because right when they put the ceiling tile up in the rec room, they had a leak. Well, they went up top and they found the leak. Where the seams met, the seams buckled, and it was letting water in underneath. So they fixed it. This happened like Tuesday. So I need to, last Tuesday, I'm sorry, took pictures, got with the mayor, got with Brad, took pictures. I need to call and get them out so they can come fix it, but I wanted to show y'all that the roof was still leaking. And we did have a lot of rain.
You should have a 15-year warranty.
Yes.
I think it's, for some reason I want to say, they said they had a 30-year warranty.
It's a 30-year warranty roof, but normally you get 15 to 20 years out of that warranty. But their insurance will be responsible for fixing a lot of that construction work that was done.
But the problem is the bricks.
The roof leaked.
The roof leaked in this area. The other part, that's moisture coming through the bricks, not the roof. You know? And I can tell you, well, I can't guarantee, but we can almost guarantee, when they ran the gas line on the outside of the building, because we had a gas leak inside the concrete, so it cost us $12,000 to run gas on outside. When they put the gas behind that thing, they bit the gutter, and it's been like that ever since. It never was fixed right. But you can see where the water has eroded the bricks as it comes down, if you look closely.
Any more discussion on the repairs at the central pump station?
If I may, go ahead. All right. Mayor, I understand about the bids, tabulation and everything, but we need somebody to get up there and tell us exactly what's what. Okay, that way we can get bids on what is found. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what comes with the bids. You get Mr. Habits is gonna go over there and see everything that is wrong.
Okay, well, I
And
just
he's gonna
wanted to
give us
show
a bid on repairing what is wrong, along with the other companies. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so we'll go by what Mr. Habits come up with as the lead post. Am I understanding this right?
Each one will give their individual.
Each construction company that is going to give a bid is going to be shown what happened, what's going on with the building. If we use reputable construction companies to give those bids, they're not gonna need another construction company to tell them what's wrong with it. If they don't know that it needs to be sealed, then their bid isn't gonna be accepted anyway, it'll be way off.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
No further discussion, public business recess.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Pine. Insurance and Personnel, Alderwoman Sandy Marks.
Okay, for Insurance and Personnel Committee, we have a quorum, and we have no action items at this time, if there's any discussion. If not, the committee recesses.
Thank you, ma'am. Community Economic Development, Alderwoman Katie Shanson.
Thank you, Mayor. We have a quorum for the Community and Economic Development Committee, and we have no action items. However, we do have some reports. So the first thing that I will mention from Valerie, the Crowley Tourism Director, the Carnival d'Acadie, Tuesday, February 21st, Mardi Gras Day. It will open at 10 a.m. Mayor Chad Monso will open that celebration, and we have a number of bands lined up throughout the day. The parade begins at 2 p.m., so make a note of that. The other thing that has been scheduled that was very successful, the Rice City Car and Tractor Show. That date is Saturday, April 15th, 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. And for information, you can go to the Crowley website, www.crowley.louisiana.com.la.com. Crowley Main Street, they have planned something for Valentine's. The downtown merchants, in partnership with Crowley Main Street, will host a chocolate crawl in their businesses on Saturday, February 11th. That's from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. They've also scheduled the Art and Wine Stroll. That's been a very successful event. That is Saturday, April 22nd, 5 until 8 p.m. Acadia Parish Chamber of Commerce, they have a ribbon cutting for the men's shop Thursday, February 9th, 4 p.m. LABI's Legislative Conference stop in Acadia Parish, Tuesday, March 28th. You'll be hearing more about that. They are also promoting the State of the Parish, and that's Thursday, March 30th. It's at the Grand Opera House. It's at 11:30. You can go to their website for information on that. The Crowley Garden Club recently celebrated Arbor Day by planting a tree at C.W. Edwards Park on East Cedar Street, 2 trees. And we're taking turns passing by there, and the trees are still fine. They're a little wet, but they're doing well so far. So exactly. The annual flower show that the Garden Club sponsors will be on Thursday, April 20th, Friday, April 21st, 11 a.m. until 3, and they hold that inside the Bank of Commerce. The other thing that is coming up, and we're having conversations about that now, is the Cleanest City competition. And we will be partnering with the Crowley Garden Club. District judging is coming up really quickly, March 13th through 17th. State judging, if we make it through that round, will be after that. So we're going to be talking about organizing some cleanup events, soliciting partners, civic clubs, churches, high school and junior high school groups, JMU, and anyone that would be interested in making our city cleaner and making us proud to be here. Citizens are encouraged to begin cleaning up around their homes and neighborhoods, and there'll be more information about that in the near future. West Crowley beautification, Dr. Proctor mentioned that there was nothing to report at this time. However, the African American Cultural Historical District has been very busy as they have recently organized, and I would like to recognize Mr. Anthony Clamo, who has a couple of things to talk about that.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. Appreciate y'all letting us come by and speak. Like she said, I'm the president of the African American, City of Crowley African American Cultural Historical District. I noticed that, Mr. Corey was talking about some signs, the street signs. I was wondering if maybe we could have the street signs in our cultural district with the cultural district name written on it. That would be a request we would be asking for the West Crowley area. Also, we're thinking about helping, like she said, with the Crowley beautification. We would like to start planting some flowers down Hutchinson Avenue. I noticed in the meeting on each corner, it's supposed to be flowers and stuff planted in there. The African American group would like to meet with the city to try to see if we could get flowers put all the way to the railroad track. There's no sense in just doing just a district. When you're doing that one street, you just work all the way to the track. And there's a couple other little projects we're gonna be working on. To start, Doosan Park, we wanna give East Day time for the kids. We wanna do a Mother's Day music in the park, Doosan Park, and we wanna do the same thing for Father's Day also. That's to kind of get the public out and to let them know everything that we wanna do in the African American culture, historical district. And we wanna work with the city of Crowley, hope they could help us out to work together on most of the projects that we'll be working on.
Yes.
Mr. Clement, I'm glad you mentioned the flowers on West Hutchinson. Previously, each block was adopted by a church or an organization of sort. I'd like to try and contact those organizations and try and get them involved again so that they can bring those flower beds back up to what they used to be at some point. I'm not sure why the interest was lost in that project, but there was even signs dictating, which church or organization or group had adopted those blocks. Sort of the same thing has happened downtown. There's some of those flower beds and things that are adopted by groups and organizations that go out there and they take care of the flower pots and the things in the flower beds. I think it's a great opportunity to get our community involved also, but also to make that happen. I want to say something that, and I don't expect it to happen soon. I'll tell you that I've learned that my patience need to be worked on because I feel like I haven't done a whole lot in a month, but I haven't, I'm in the office before the sun comes up and after the sun goes down, so I'm doing something. But I'm anxious to make other things happen. I want to tell you, and I've mentioned it to others, I'd like to try and find some funding, and I'm hopeful that the cultural district being created now will help with that. But what I'd like to see is Western from the tracks to Northern built in the same fashion as Hutchinson from the court circle to the tracks. Build the median up there, put street lights down the median, and really make it as welcoming as West Hutchinson, make Western, Northwestern as welcoming also. Again, it's not gonna happen in 2023. I guess that's on the wish list, but I'm anxious to try and work with the cultural district, and hopefully we can find some funding to make that happen. I think that will brighten up that area and actually bring some pride to some of those neighbors who want to clean up the area and make it look nicer. So come meet with me. I'd love to meet with you at the office, and we can talk about the flower beds and stuff and trying to work together to get some of those groups involved. I really like that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hold on,
Steph, you have some?
Well, what happened, I'm gonna tell you what happened, with the flower situation. It was taken away from different nonprofits and churches, okay? Apparently at the time it was being done and it was going real well. Then all of a sudden, unbeknownst to everybody, I went there one day, had a big water truck and they took over. Okay, that's what happened. I mean, it is what it is. It wasn't where no one gave up, it was taken away from the nonprofits and the different sponsors. Now, when Mr. Clement is talking about, the last time, aren't we still planting flowers during the summer, in spring? I'm asking, I don't remember whether it was ceased or what.
I'm not sure. I haven't been through a summer of office yet. I'm not sure what the,
Private administration, they was.
what the flowers process is. I do know that most of, like I mentioned, most of the flower beds, if not all, I'll look into that, downtown have been adopted by organizations and groups for them to keep them up. I do know that, but is the city planting flowers and stuff? I'm not sure, Steph.
Well, but one of the things
Something we
I
can
just
look
want to
at.
make clear, what Mr. Clement was talking about, he wasn't, in part, I don't want to put words in your mouth. You were saying working with the city of Crowley, correct? Let's make sure we get all the words cleared up here. Because I'm hearing one thing, but I'm listening and hearing something else. When,
Whatever it takes to get the job done, we
Thank
really
you.
work with anybody. If we
Exactly.
have to do it and get donations to get what we need
Right.
down there, we willing to work with that too. We learning, it's a new process for us, we're trying to help. We're not gonna step on anybody's toes, but that's why we're gonna ask questions to
Exactly.
to everybody before we make a move. And just like you were saying, we was gonna get with the people that was supposed to be taking care of the East Block, because we mostly know them, they in our area. We was gonna get with them first and see what they was gonna do, and maybe we could have all did it together. So we'll be working together with the public.
all right, thank you.
Thank you, yeah, Mr. Doreen.
Yeah, Steph, you might remember, at one time, we had a crew, now we have Jonathan now that does, but we had a crew of about 4 girls.
Exactly.
And that all fell apart when the budget got tight and the girls, some of them had to leave, and Jonathan was the only one. There may have been someone helping him, but that's when all of this went away. You know, they used to go in, they would help. They'd help the churches in that, you know, they would water and do, like you said, you said a water truck there. But then you remember when the budget got really bad, a lot of people just left, you know, so that's why, like, the wheels fell off of it. It came apart. So that's just to answer your question.
Yes, and Dr. Morris.
Yes, I'd like to share some information, and I've been sharing with the mayor. I'm a member of the Keep Louisiana Beautiful, and at the present time, they are offering grants to any community. It could be the garden club, it could be the culture club, between $500 and $8,000. And if you write your project and define what it is, and you make the application, the due date is in March. They'll review the applications in April, and if you qualify, and this can be any cultural group in the city, there's a lot of money and grants to be had. I'll be glad to share you. It's open to anyone, how to try to get revenues for the culture club and any garden club that we need improvement. But now is the time to do it. The deadline is in March. You can see me later.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have anything else that we need to discuss?
Chair, just one
Fred.
request. I know we have a lot of events, a lot of dates and times. Would it be possible maybe to include those on the agenda? That way we can kind of, the public can refer to them.
Absolutely, and of course, you know, as we were getting things done today, I just got some of those.
Okay, sure.
But we'll work on doing that, absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, hearing no other comments or questions, this committee will recess.
Thank you, ma'am. Revenue and Finance, Alderman Dickey Latchley.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to convene the Revenue Finance Committee. We have a quorum present. We have no action items. We have no discussion items. Is there anything to bring up to the committee?
So I want to answer Brad's question about the financial reports for the council members and the public. The auditors have been at City Hall for about 3 weeks now, and they are auditing September 1st of 21 through August 31st of 22. In that time period, as you all well know, we went through 6 city clerks. The city went through 6 city clerks. Our current city clerk, Glenn Dorr, has been here for 6 months. And he was handed over a pile of mess, I'll put it that way, and has been going through it diligently to catch up on things. I'll tell you, there's one account in particular that I know of that had not been reconciled since March of 22. And there's others that, you know, he's having to deal with, and he's catching up, but it's taking him some time to catch up. Friday this week, I have a CPA coming in. The previous CPA, and it's public record, and I'll say it. The previous CPA was compensated over $65,000 in the first 3 months of this budget. And we were not able to get any records up to date as of today. I chose to hire a different CPA, and she will be happy to come to the council meetings whenever y'all choose for her to. Her name is Christy Dunn. She works for a firm in Lafayette. She was recommended, and when I mentioned her name to not only the auditors, but other individuals in the finance world, she came extremely highly recommended. I was told that she is the best of the best in municipal finances. She will start Friday with Glenn. Her first priority is going to be helping him get the information together that is needed for the auditors to get through this audit. The deadline for the audit is February 28th. I'm almost certain that that deadline will be requested to be extended into March. But I'm confident that once Christy gets here, she's able to start working with Glenn. Glenn has some strong help with her and the other employees at City Hall who have all been pitching in to make things happen, that we'll be able to move forward and actually get you all and myself some numbers. Again, there's one of the examples is some of the salary increases since the budget has been approved, and those were not brought to the council. So things like that have happened, and we have to get through it. We will. It's not a question whether or not we have the money. The question really is where is it? What pot of gold is it in? And then, of course, how much is in each pot of gold? So I'll ask that you give us some time. You'll get tired of hearing me. I'm tired of hearing it. But you'll get tired of hearing me ask for more time. But this stuff moves slowly. There's a lot of work to be done. Another part of the problem is the software. So, yes, I see some of the previous council members out there. The software, that is part of the problem. So, when we first met with Christy mentioned, I explained to her that currently we are using, through the process of financials, we are using 2 separate softwares. Still using the old software for some of the process, and using the new software for some of the process. And then the process that the old software is being used for is manually entered into the new software at some point. And then, of course, I get a phone call in my office every once in a while from one of the angry employees in City Hall because they were working in the new software and it kicked them out. And then they got to start over because it didn't save any of their information that they were entering. But the new software is giving them an absolute headache. And when Christy came in and talked to us, to meet us, I explained some of that to her, and the employees explained some of that process to her, and she says, well, you don't really want to change softwares in the middle of a budget. And obviously Glenn agreed with her that wouldn't be the proper thing to do. And then after she was able to sit with the auditors also and find out what it is they're needing and the challenges that they're having, and sit down with Glenn and the other employees, her next statement was, we may need to change softwares to get through this audit. So we have some problems, and we're working through them. I'll tell you that a lot of things are being kind of, I don't want to say put on the back burner, but some of the things that are not moving as quickly as we'd like it to because the financial statements are what, and the stability of the finances is what we're really focusing on right now. Again, there's nothing missing, there's nothing, it just is not up to date. The auditors have not given any indication that there's anything illegal. The problem is it's not up to date, so they can't get the information that they need. So those are the things that are being worked on. I apologize, but the financial statements just aren't ready right now. I'll make you this promise though, just like everything else we've done that you all know of through the past month, everything will be available to you either by email, by print, as soon as we get it straight. It doesn't do any good to give out any information right now because it's not proper, up-to-date information. But we are moving forward, and there is some progress, correct, Glenn? Much progress has happened over the past couple of weeks. So bear with us, give us a little time, and we're working on it. You will get those finance statements each and every month. Any questions? Chief?
Mayor, you might, just to remind them, order fire trucks?
Yes, so.
Because of procurement, we found out?
Right, so the fire trucks that were ordered, you all got the packet. The previous administration said that the 2.4 million in the second tranche was going to, public safety, 1.2 to fire, 1.2 to police. The 1.2 to fire, the previous administration signed a contract and purchased 2 new fire trucks for a little over 1.3 million. We did go through the state contract process. We thought there was an option for another process that has saved us about $8,000, and I tried to make that happen, but I don't remember, what did he say, Chief, why we couldn't do that?
So, going through the Louisiana state contract, they want to charge us $10,000. If you go through HGAC, which is the Houston Galveston area contract or cooperative agreement, they only charge $2. But at that Camp Crow deal, asked the lady with the auditor's office, she sent me to procurement, state procurement, contacted procurement. They said, that's Attorney General's question. So I contacted the Attorney General. Attorney General sent me to Mr. Robinson. Mr. Robinson said, HGAC is for school boards, ESD districts, and hospitals that they can buy off of, not municipalities. So I was trying to save $8,000 there to go through HGAC, but the Attorney General said he knows that a lot of, like Lafayette buys off HGAC, City of Eunice buys off HGAC, City of Opelousas, but I want to do everything by the book. I don't want to get nobody in trouble. So this could cost us $10,000 to go through state contract instead of the $2,000 through HGAC.
So one other thing is that it is my understanding that those purchases, those expenditures of the funds for ARPA was supposed to go through council, and it did not. So I'm going to, that'll probably be brought up next week, just out of, just to make it happen. The previous mayor already signed the contract, and the trucks are ordered. Now, they won't be in for 20 months, 18 to 20 months.
I thought it had to come up tonight to be brought up at the council meeting. That's why I want to remind you tonight.
Right.
If I'm out of order, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I need to get with Tom on that to get it, make sure we're in line with everything. And we can bring it up at the council meeting. Again, committee meetings are only recommendations. Council meetings make the laws. But just so that y'all know that's gonna come up, it's just to make it official. It happened before we all got into office for this term, but I'd really like to bring it before the council just to approve it. And it's, so the 1.2 million from ARPA for the fire department, the fire trucks are 1.37, so we'll have to come up with another 170-something thousand.
And while we're talking about fire trucks, we got denied on the AFG grant last year. I'm applying for the AFG grant again this year. This year's gonna be our best year because the age of our fleet, once we get these 2 new trucks, the average brings it way down. So I'm trying to, hopefully we get it this year. If we do get it, we need to come up with 15% of $800,000 for the new fire truck, and I'm just guesstimating, because the fire trucks was 7 right now, and I know they had a 10% increase November 1st, so I figured $800,000 for a new truck. So if we do get it, we're gonna have to come up with 15% to match the AFG grant. So, y'all keep your fingers crossed.
Any other yes, sir?
What you talking about right now, that's first week, and I know I was on this council. Now, I remember buying no trucks. I remember even being brought up about trucks.
You are correct, sir.
Okay.
You are correct.
Second thing, had it been brought up, I knew that the funds, there was a separation on what could be and could not be, and this council is in jurisdiction over that money. Okay? Now, I'm not throwing nobody under the bus here, whatever, but it was split. I remember we had used the term that the last monies would be used for public safety. Chief, did you look into your budget? Is any of that money left? Tell me I'm fire.
Had no idea.
There you go. There you go. Once again, you know, the bottom line is we in a situation here where, as we say, the right hand didn't know what the hell the left hand was doing. And we're in a quagmire right now. Now, just for transparency, I'm on the board of LMAT. Okay? Was LMAT brought part into this?
That's who we're going through.
That's what you're going through now?
Well, that's who we went through
Okay.
at the beginning.
All right.
State contract.
Okay.
Back in October.
Right.
It was brought to our attention that we can save some money if we go through HGAC. So that's why we looked at that, because we could save $8,000.
Yeah, but if I'm not mistaken, I'm not too familiar with all the alphabets, but state contract is state contract. All right, that's new municipality. That's why it's part of the LMA. The MAC is part of the LMA, okay? We don't give information about any other source for the simple reason we're not going to be bound by what they present. We present, the MAC government board presents fact, whether we can piggyback or not. We piggybacked on a lot of stuff. Jeff, when we were back, when you were on the council, we piggybacked on a lot of stuff, okay? Basically, that should have been the first thing, question and answer. Well, did we check where numbers used for term? Was it Baton Rouge that just bought 2 or 3 trucks? You follow what I'm saying? What was their bid?
So the process with that, because we even talked about that with Mr. Robinson,
Right.
with the Attorney General. Baton Rouge truck is not a Crowley truck.
No, I just use the term, a city. No, I don't want to put apples and apples here. I'm just saying comparable city.
So I had a committee of 10 people, and we sat down and we spec'd out a truck from the tires to the light bar to what goes inside, what the
All the
city of
buildings.
Crowley needs.
Right.
There's no other department that we can piggyback on,
Okay.
you know, because
Yeah,
you can only-
piggyback has
you
to
can
be
only-
exact.
You can only use 10% of published options, which is extras. But when you're talking about going from a 1,250 GPM pump to a 1,500 GPM pump, that right there is about $15,000 difference.
Okay, but did y'all look into what we call the base model? Okay, the base model. Oh, I'm sorry. The base model.
That's what I'm talking about,
Okay.
the extra published options.
Right, well, that's what, I know doing that, that's one of the things that we always talk about is, in other words, if you're going to buy a car, there's a base model. Whatever you add to it adds more expenditures to it. But the main issue right here, if it had been brought to this council, it would have been debated and it would have been adjudicated to who needed to do what, when, and where, okay? Once again, if you got a headache, you're not going to an auto supply company, okay? You're going to a doctor, okay? But I'm kind of confused with this, to be honest with you. Now, Mayor, y'all checked on the legality of the signage, even though this council didn't approve it? Did y'all check on that?
Yes.
And
Yes.
what was that?
He was the mayor when he signed it.
Yeah, but that ARPA money is designated by the jurisdictional, which is, we're the legislative body. Okay? How did he just say, you know, I'm not gonna bring this to the council, I'll just do what I want to do?
Mr. Martin, I can't tell you why.
But no, because I'm just using this as.
I will ask that question also before next
Right.
week to make sure.
Yeah, because to me, if we didn't, didn't sign and vote on it, it does not exist. You know, that's just me.
Well, I think part of the problem is the fire trucks are obviously needed.
Right.
And so, you know, it's not I don't think it's a question whether or not we're gonna get the fire trucks or not. I think it's, for me, I wanna make sure going forward that it's done legally. So if it needs to be brought to the council, although it's been done by the previous administration, and it should have been brought to the council then, I wanna bring it to the council now, just to cover us going forward.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm always using the term, and once again, if it wasn't then, it shouldn't be now. I mean, if it wasn't brought before us the first time, and we just have a new city chief right here, police, saying he don't know what he have in his budget. Who's to say the money wasn't crossed over? You know? Look, might as well put it on the table. Let's put it on the table. Okay, we had, how much money we had in the ARPA funds? The total was what?
It was 2.4 million dollars. 1.2 for fire, 1.2 for police is what the previous administration said. And that's, from my understanding, that's what happened, with the exception of the fire trucks. The fire trucks actually spent more than the 1.2. Chief Aber and I have talked about this, and I'm trying to find out what was bought from the police department for that 1.2 billion, and that answer isn't as clear as the fire department, because we have the same fire chief today that we had.
Yeah, but one of the things that you have to look at as well, if I'm not mistaken, that money could have been used for retainment. I'm asking, I don't know. Yeah, some of that money could have been used for retainment. Yes, ARPA funds. Yes, some of it. I just saw
Emergency
it. Well, that's what you call your protection. It's emergency pay.
Okay. Any other questions?
Okay, the revenue and finance recesses.
I don't know what's going to walk
That's my part.
I can't remember what we were saying with this study. I remember, we got a bunch of office.
Yeah, but that's a lot of money.
Computers for the units, dash cams. Well, you press, you body cameras. From what I heard, they bought video systems for the units through the Harper funds.
Right.
They're looking at purchase the force, back. They did buy some laptops. Some laptops for the units. Yeah. So they didn't have to come in. Well, we're not sure.